Good morning, my name is Matthias Tomczak. I'm the product manager of BEKA Hospitec, and today I would like to show you our mobility groups, which are inside our Mobility Guidebook. So we developed these mobility groups like more or less 2 years ago in the process of writing our guidebook. It was developed out of very well-known clinical scales like the functional independent measurement and the clinical frailty scale. The content are 5 different mobility levels, so from group 1 to group 5. And now I would like to show you a little bit more in detail the different groups. Okay, so here you can see this is group number 1. But first I want to say that this scale is not for use in a clinical setting. For us it's a scale that we use in connection with our products. So you as a customer, when you want to choose a product for safe patient handling out of our BEKA portfolio, then it's perfect to use the mobility group to find the right product for the right groups in your elderly care home, for example, or your hospital or whatever facility you are working and you want to use our safe patient handling products. So here you see group 1. Group 1 doesn't need much help. They are more or less independent. There are some products like the Motion who can fit perfect to group 1, but more or less the need is not so much. When you see like group 2, you see here an older man with a walker, and he is more dependent on the caregivers. He can do a lot of things by his own, and he still has some mobility left. He also still has some trunk control and trunk strength left. But he is, for example, sometimes someone who can use also a NORA in some stages of his immobility or his mobility issues that he has. The person here on group 3, you see, is the one that you see a lot in the elderly care homes all around the globe. He is really dependent, and he's only able to move with help, and with like a wheelchair or other helping things for him to move. He is, for example, someone who is really in need of our NORA, the sit-to-stand lifter. He is most of the time not in need of a CALO, which is our mobile lifter, but the NORA can be something that fits a lot to his independent level and his mobility level. And for the bathtubs, for example, or the hygiene, he needs a shower chair, he needs a motion bathtub. He can maybe get up and sit in the motion bathtub, but the way he has to go there, he needs, for example, a NORA, or he can go with his wheelchair and then do the transfer to the motion. Group 4. She, as you can see, is much dependent on the caregivers. And more or less any of the daily activities she has to do, she is dependent. And she is maybe also in need of a CALO, so a mobile lifter. She can be perfectly for a use of a bathing lift in connection to, for example, the comfort bathtub or some really classical care bathtubs. Dependent on which level of group 4 she is, can she also be able to use the Motion, for example. And group 5. Group 5 is very dependent. Mortality rate is quite low, so the under 6 months of risk of mortality. Someone who is more or less lying prone, not able to get up, no stability left, someone who's very, very dependent on the caregivers, and also then very dependent on safe patient handling helpers for the caregivers, like the mobile lifts, like a care bed, like the Mona, any kind of shower helpers, like a shower trolley, like the Sina. So this is the end of the mobility level in comparison of group 1, our woman who is more or less able to do everything by her own. Now I would like to show you a little bit more what is about the Mobility Guidebook that we developed more or less like 2 years ago. The Mobility Guidebook is a nice tool for you because we put a lot of information about safe patient handling in this book. A lot of information about the clinical usage of safe patient handling products like a mobile lifter, a sit-to-stand lifter, how to connect patients, how to move the patient. And there's also a tool where you are able to choose the right product to the right patient group, the right mobility group that I was showing before. And also if you are a planner or an architect and you would like to know how much space does a Nora, a Carlo for example, or some bathtubs need in rooms, we have nice drawings of space recommendations that you can use, and you can get yourself an idea how much space you need for the different products. So I really recommend you to have a look in our Mobility Guidebook, and you can get it at the BEKA Hospitec website. Connect our sales team, connect Brian. Also, if you have any questions about the portfolio and how to connect the mobility groups and which mobility groups are for the different BEKA Hospitec products. So for today, I would like to say goodbye and see you next time.